The San Antonio Spurs, the NBA's premier organization, an organization that has won 50 games in each of the last 18 seasons. However, this season, the team has been somewhat average, going just 36-26 so far. I, Weity Productions, am here to analyze whether the San Antonio Spurs will win 50 games this season. The Spurs have had a rough season this year, with injuries and the first controversy coming out of their organization this century dominating the headlines. We obviously know about the whole Kawhi Leonard situation, so I'm not going to go into that, but he's obviously been out for almost the whole season. Their two senior citizens, and Tony Parker and Manu Ginobili, have struggled with injuries. New addition Rudy Gay only returned the other day because of a right heel injury, and their star power forward LaMarcus Aldridge has been banged up several different times. Looking at the Spurs roster, they're old, and that has been much of their problem this season. Parker and Ginobili, while still solid rotation players, are nowhere near the stars that they used to be. Pau Gasol, another one of their older players, has been one of the worst starters in the league. Patty Mills has not lived up to the massive contract that the Spurs gave him, and Danny Green, while a good 3-and-D player, has been in and out of the lineup. Just making my point here, DeJounte Murray is really the only guy in his early 20s making a real impact for them, and that's obviously a huge problem. Unfortunately for them, this is something that cannot really be fixed until the offseason, and even then, rebuilding with the younger team will be tough due to the salary they have tied around their waists. Just looking at this year, Greg Popovich will most certainly want to give these older guys some rest. I mean, he's already started to do it, so there's no reason to think that he won't continue to do it as the playoffs get closer. This also does not bode well for them in their pursuit of 50 wins, as while these players may not have the talent that they did 5 to 10 years ago, they are still savvy veterans who can find ways to win games. Their schedule is also brutal, as after two very winnable games at home against the Lakers and Grizzlies, they have to travel on the road to play the Warriors, Thunder, and Rockets all in a 3-game stretch, each with just a day of rest in between games. In total, not counting the next two games against the Lakers and Grizz, they only play 3 teams with a losing record for the rest of the season, those games being home against the Magic, away against the Lakers once again, and at home against the Kings. This schedule is very tough, especially for a team fighting for playoff position. As with both the conferences being so close, it will be an absolute bloodbath between teams to see where they fall seeding-wise. What I'm trying to say here is that the Spurs don't have many gimmies left this season. That could definitely be a problem when they are already at a disadvantage with having to go 14-6 in order to get to 50. There's no easy way around this for the Spurs, and it's not like they can just coast because they're locked into a seed either. Throwing 50 wins out of the window, the Spurs are currently the 5 seed, which would mean that they would not have home court in the first round. Especially for a veteran team like San Antonio, home court is huge, with the San Antonio crowd cheering their team on. Every playoffs, the Spurs seem to thrive off of that home energy. So if they get forced to a Game 7 in the first round, it would best serve them to be playing on their own court instead of their opponent's court. However, I think I've presented about everything as to why the Spurs will not win 50 games, so now I'm going to move on to why I believe that they could in fact keep the streak alive this year. First of all, we can never, ever count Greg Popovich out. He's the greatest coach of all time, hands down, and I don't even think it's that close. No matter who he puts on the floor, he will have these Spurs fighting and being a competitive team. I think that nothing proves this point better than this season. Though a record of 36-26 is only slightly above average, I can guarantee you that almost any other coach wouldn't even have a winning record with the circumstances that Pop has been dealt with this year. So yeah, Pop's the GOAT, I think that you all get that. However, the bigger thing that I'm more interested in talking about here is the return of Kawhi Leonard. Recently, reports have said that Kawhi will be returning at some point this month, which is obviously great news for the Spurs. When healthy, Kawhi is the best two-way player in the league, and if he comes back at full strength, San Antonio has the potential to beat just about anyone. Now, of course, it probably won't be that easy, as I'm sure that Kawhi will need to be eased back into the lineup before he's back to his old self. When it comes down to looking at the pursuit of 50 wins, it all depends on when he comes back. If he can return sometime near the midpoint of this month, then I would give the Spurs a fair chance, but if it falls very late in the month, or in April for just the last few days of the season, then that will lead me more towards the no side of the spectrum for winning 50. If I had to say now, knowing the very little that I know about the situation, I would say that Kawhi comes back in late March, and while he makes it interesting for them, I would ultimately have to say the Spurs will not win 50 games for the first time since 1999. So that is my video checking in on whether the Spurs will win 50 games or not. It will be interesting to see how this unfolds as this last stretch of the season unwinds. As I said, I personally don't think that they'll get to the mark, but if they go on a bit of a run, it's most certainly possible. Anyways, that's going to be it for me, so if you enjoyed this video, then please be sure to like and subscribe to this channel. If you would like to be notified of when I upload a new video, then please click the bell in the bottom right hand corner to receive those. Also, feel free to share your thoughts of the video down in the comment section, and you all have a great day.